Hi. Oh my goodness. Can everybody hear me okay? Yay. Keisha, it looks like I'm up and going. Yay. All right. That's awesome. Thank you for your help, Keisha. Let me get out of Messenger. So, how's everybody doing tonight on our Tuesday night live? Hi, Neely. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry I forgot to text you. All right, I see we have some people here. Awesome. Dr. Andi is not on this evening, as you can tell. My name is Dana. I am a veterinary cannabis counselor and a pet wellness coach, and I'm here to fill in for Dr. Andi today. Thanks, Kyle. Hi, Kyle. Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback. It was a lot of fun doing the podcast with Dee Dee earlier this week. For sure, for sure. So, does anybody have any questions in regards to cannabis therapy and our pets? What got you into CBD with animals? Goodness. Okay. So let's see. My background. Basically, I am a retired veterinary technician. I was a vet tech for 14 years, almost 15 years. And truthfully, I just got my heart broke and was tired of helping the veterinarian pass that euthanasia needle, because often that was the most the least expensive option. Um, it didn't feel good to me. It didn't feel right. I got out of it for many years. Eventually, went back to school, got my certification in massage therapy for animals, and I've been doing that for the last 8 years. And it's been a whirlwind of information. It's been a huge learning curve. I've met wonderful people along the way, lots of holistic practitioners. Um, my biggest inspiration was a orthopedic surgeon that I met that obviously was into veterinary medicine, but he believed in alternative healing modalities. He introduced me to a photonic light for a non-invasive acupuncture. He introduced me to targeted pulsed electromagnetic field therapy to decrease inflammation and pain. Um, Gosh, he really spun my head around and got me thinking of more natural modalities. Um, let's see. Oh, Neely, my doggos are still in La La Land. Dana was at my house earlier today to see them for massage. Yes, ma'am. Her pups being such long back breeds, they definitely can benefit for sure. Jessica, what would you suggest for an aggressive dog? Not aggressive all the time, but sometimes. And the pet parents have tried CBD before with no luck. So, Jessica, thanks for bringing that up. And yes, Keisha, we'll get to that in just a minute. Jessica, yeah, we hear that in the cannabis field quite a bit. That either we've got from one extreme of, I tried a product that I bought from a pet store and it was everything that my dog needed. And they're a completely different dog. And I'm seeing a lot of my old dog and I couldn't be any happier. To I got something from the pet store. I don't know. I gave it the way that the bottle said to give it. And I just not really seeing a difference. I just ended up throwing it away. And that's because the CBD products that are marketed over the counter pet stores, grocery stores, farmers markets, anything outside of a dispensary, um, they're not regulated, which is unfortunate because without regulation of any kind, they can put anything they want in those bottles. Oh, it wasn't from a pet store, Jessica says. And that's fine because even what we find in pet stores, they're not necessarily all quality products either. Um, you know, I tend not to even use the term quote unquote CBD because CBD is just an abbreviation for one of the molecules that's produced, which is actually called cannabidiol. Just like we have THC, which is the other major molecule, which is the one that lends to our recreational use when we're wanting to escape reality and be a little intoxicated or high. So I tend not to use the term CBD because you can find cannabidiol in hemp products as well as marijuana products. You'll hear me all the time just refer to cannabis, cannabis being the umbrella term to cover both marijuana and hemp products. Marijuana products are heavily regulated. You can only legally get those from dispensaries. They generally have a much higher amount of THC and can really be delicate in working with pets because again, it does have that ability to give the high effect. Um, the hemp products, which most people now are referring to as CBD products, um, again, we can find any place. And because of lack of regulation, they can put anything they want in those bottles. Sometimes um, you find that they're pure 100% pure organic hemp seed oil. Well, gosh, pure 100% hemp seed oil? That sounds great. I'm going to give it a try. I'll spend 40, $50 on this bottle. Absolutely. Only to find out hemp seed oil, there are no cannabinoids, which is what CBD is, in the seeds. You need the flower of the plant. So there's just not regulation. And without that regulation, we can find product out there that really doesn't lend any medicinal effects at all. Let's see, going back to Keisha, do animals have different tolerance for CBD? Yes, absolutely. They're much tinier. Dosages are much different, even different from what a lot of the manufacturers put on the bottles. I can tell you one of the products that I just referred a client to, the back of the bottle or the back of the box says to use 0.25 mLs, which when you look at the dropper, it's divided into four parts, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and then one full ml for one full dropper. And it said to use 0.25, so basically just barely the tip of the dropper, for every 20 pounds of animal's weight. And I have an older aging shepherd that I've been working with the pet parents, and I will tell you, um, we started her on 8 drops of her product. And it's a hemp product. It's a product with a great molecular profile. So I looked at what the pet parent was trying to achieve. I looked at the deficits that we had been seeing in the dog over the years. And I found a product that had all the different molecules. So it had some CBD in it, some CBDA, some CBG, and even some terpenes in it that would lend to what the pet parents really wanted to see for their dog. And we started with 8 drops. 8 drops. That's crazy. According to the manufacturer, she could be getting, well, 20 pounds, 20, 40, 60, 80. She could be getting at least one full dropper, a full ml, upwards of twice a day. And we started with 8 drops, upwards of twice a day. She is actually, the pet parents are weaning her off of prednisone So we've slowly taken our time and we've gradually increased her cannabis product. And she's still below a half a milliliter twice a day. So they definitely have a different tolerance. Thank you for asking, Keisha. Um, Jessica, you had asked about the anxiety or aggression. And, Jessica, I'd really want to talk to them more. Different molecules lend to different properties, and frequently you want to get a nice blend of terpenes as well. Terpenes are kind of like our essential oils. And you know how you can diffuse essential oils, or you can kind of put some on, or and get different medicinal type effects from the different oils. Terpenes are very similar, and they'll put those come from the cannabis plant as well. Um, so in perfectly honestly, Jessica, I really want to chat with the pet parents to see what they refer to as aggression, what that aggression looks like, and find a product that would lend the right molecular profile to give to their pet so that they could hopefully come up with the results that they're looking for. I hope that helps. Sorry. Um, what else? Let's see. Keisha, wowzers. Kyle, currently giving my dog CBD. That's great. It's Susie's CBD drops prescribed by Dr. Jasek. Our girl has been barking outbursts to other dogs. She's about 25-ish pounds and getting 22 or 0.25 milliliters per day doesn't seem to be helping. Kyle, I'm really glad that you mentioned Susie's. One of the things that I do, I literally scour, as you know, there's hundreds of CBD friendly, pet friendly companies out there that advertise crazy. I mean, just put CBD for pets in your Google search bar and you'll be inundated. And unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there, again, because of the lack of regulation. But Susie's, actually, I had a massage client who he said, well, I use this for my other dog. Should I use it for her? And I was like, you know what? Let me take a peek for you. So I went to Susie's. They had very minimal information online when it comes to the laboratory reports on their products. I reached out to them via email, and I even called them and left them a voicemail and asked specifically for contaminant reports, terpene reports, and toxin reports. And they never got back to me. So I personally, without knowing what exactly is in the product, I wouldn't refer a client to use it by any means. I don't. So just so you guys all know, I'm completely product neutral. My allegiance has nothing to do with a manufacturer. My allegiance has nothing to do with a product. My allegiance is to my pet parents, and hearing the struggles that they're going through with their pups and trying to help find them a product where they can give some support and maybe even see some hints of that old pup again. I know with me, I have a 15-year-old little Chihuahua, and she has become very anxious after the 4th of July, just this last year, 2022. And I started her on a real nice product, and it has allowed her to be the old dog that I remember. She's more social. She comes out and wants to hang out more. She's not running away if you close a cabinet too hard anymore. So that's my goal. That's where my allegiance is to to our pet parents and helping their pets. Absolutely. We get them for such a short period of time. We want them to be able to enjoy that time, and we truly want to enjoy that time with them. So let's see, Kyle, I hope that helps. I just Susie's, I can't get enough information. And if Dr. Jasek was able to, that's awesome. I should probably reach out to her and see what information she's received. But yeah, haven't had such luck. They just haven't responded. So I just won't refer clients to their product. Um, let's see. Neely. Oh, Kyle, you should have a consult with Dana. Yeah, that's absolutely, Kyle. You can reach out to me directly, and we can totally talk more about what's going on. Looks like you want your pup to be a little bit more calm. So I'd like to know a lot more about that. And I'm sure we could find you a really good, clean product that we know is free from contaminants, free from molds, free from pesticides, heavy metals. And we know that we're not actually adding toxins to our pups. Because believe it or not, the product has to be extracted in some way or another, right? The cannabidiol and the cannabinoids have to be extracted. Frequently, they use different gases. Sometimes they use water, but if they use butane or ethanol, is that stuff leaching over into the product? Without those laboratory results, we truly don't know. And that's why I wouldn't refer anybody to Susie's, because I can't get their laboratory results. Okay, let's see. I knew what you meant, Kyle. We got it. Let's see. Neely, key point, all CBD is not created equal. Absolutely, it's not. We know that for fact. Um, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this right. Jamily. How about Carbon C60? They have a dark dog formula. Oh, you know what? I'm going to write that down and I will take a look. Absolutely. Thank you. I love learning about new products and there's so many out there. You can't possibly know everything about every single one of them. So thank you for bringing that up. Let's see. Kyle, do you have any recommendations? Again, Kyle, I really, really prefer to talk to pet parents directly and find out what your goals are and what your pup has been going through. I usually request veterinary records. I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing by you and by your pup before I just go wheelie-neely recommending different products that are out there. Other brands, there's a few brands on the market that I have referred that are great products. I know Dr. Andi likes Ambery Gardens. um, I can't get a lot of background on them. And when they did send me their terpene list, it was back from 2019, I think is what I saw. It might have been 2017. It was a while ago, but kind of along the same thing. If you can't keep your testing up to regular standards, how can I be so sure that your product is up that good? Let's see. Keisha, does CBD generally have a sedative type of function in the body? Keisha, yeah. And it depends again on that molecular profile. Um, there's a terpene called myrcene that literally is kind of like a sedative that will lend to, we like to recommend it for like post-surgical cases when they really need to rest a lot because it just really makes them drowsy. And then one of the CBD molecules, CBN, actually, it will absolutely lend to being drowsy and just kind of wanting to sleep. Absolutely. Whew, that was a lot. Thanks for hanging in there with me for all of that. Anything else? Any other questions? Let's see. What else can we talk about in the meantime? Um, hmm. What, how about, so what does a veterinary cannabis counselor do? Um, so last year I completed a course on veterinary cannabis counseling, and I was able to do so Thank you, Kyle. I look forward to it. Um, I was able to complete the course because I am a retired veterinary technician. You have to at least have that under your belt um, in order to take the course. And oh, thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. Absolutely look forward to talking with you as well. Um, are there signs that an animal is having a reaction to CBD? Oh, goodness. Keisha, that's a really good one. Um, the average the average basically if you see your pet just not acting like themselves, it could be anything from excessive itching, drooling, panting, that kind of thing. um, Thank you. I appreciate that too, Jessica. Is in regards to having a reaction to a product. You know, one of the jobs of a veterinary cannabis counselor is to do harm reduction education, and we frequently talk to our pet parents about how to safely handle a product. Here in Colorado, with marijuana being legal, um, you find it quite frequently in homes. And a lot of times, pet parents don't necessarily think that it's a big problem if they just kind of leave it out on their kitchen table, or yes, ma'am, harm reduction education, um, or just kind of leave it out and about. And even with the hemp products that I would refer, you still just don't want to leave it out. Cannabis therapy has a huge scope of safety. Huge. That's why the manufacturer can say 0.25 mLs for every 20 pounds, because it's that safe. However, when we humans take a trip to the dispensary and we're looking to escape reality and have some psychotropic type effect and be high, we our dogs don't do that. Our dogs, our cats, they have no idea how to handle that. And so when we leave a product sitting around, I think I mentioned it in Dee Dee's podcast the other day. I literally said, and I'll say it again, if your dog gets into your nasty bong water, if you put your blunt down and it rolls out and hits the ground and the dog gobbles it up, those products again being so high in THC, whew, those are the ones that could be life that could be a life endangering type situation. Um, those are pups that should absolutely go to the vet. Veterinarians would be able to do some sub-Q, or excuse me, some IV fluids, be able to support the pet while they go through everything and metabolize it so it comes out of their system. Um, I see lots of people who are like, oh, it's completely natural, they'll be fine. And for the most part, I would probably say, yeah, they probably will. But if you truly don't know how much they got, too much with THC is literally endangering an animal's life. Um, yeah, what signs would we see? Again, a staggering walk, excessive panting, excessive thirst, because they don't know how to handle the high that comes with THC. Um, they could absolutely become aggressive. Um, they could also be very scared. They could, a lot of whining and panting, or whining and wincing, hiding, anything along those lines. Yeah. And we see it. And I know accidents happen, but absolutely the way that we care for our products and having our furry ones around, we absolutely need to keep them up and out of the way, because it does have a fragrance. I think one of the questions I have on my website is, why can't I just give my dog the gummies or the edible that I get from the dispensary? And mainly twofold. First and foremost, they're not at a dose low enough for an animal. Again, being from a dispensary, they're more formulated for human use, and we're generally much bigger than our pets are. So that's first and foremost. The next thing when it comes to edibles is we don't know what else would be in those products. I mean, we know chocolate is a toxin, right? So you absolutely wouldn't want your dog to get into your chocolate chip cookie or your brownie edibles, right? Um, but there could be other toxins outside of, just the whole sugary treat, not that kind of thing. But I've seen some products that actually have xylitol in them. Well, we know xylitol is a huge no-no and a big toxin for our pets. So again, I personally stay away from all of the human stuff. Is there room and safety to utilize a human product? Yeah, there absolutely is, because cannabis is cannabis is cannabis, but you have to be able to know what you're dealing with and how to titrate it down, and how to dilute it so that you're not overdosing, overstimulating, over exciting the endocannabinoid system in our pets. Gosh, I hope that helps. Kyle, would sativa or indica THC react differently in pets than it does in humans? I don't believe so. I believe that, sativa is absolutely going to go ahead and have the exact same effect as it would in us. And same with the indica. I mean, I'm trying to remember. So because I don't generally work with the different strains that much, indica is the one that makes you relaxed, correct? Yes. So yeah, so indicas, it would definitely help. I think that's going to be a little bit higher with the CBN molecule, and that's what's really going to help you just kind of relax a little bit more. Again, would be the same reaction that our bodies would have. So just a second ago, I mentioned the endocannabinoid system. Um, Back in the early 1990s, the endocannabinoid system was discovered in mammals. And so, believe it or not, you have an endocannabinoid system. I have an endocannabinoid system. And just like, um, yes, in the couch. Perfect. Yes, indica. Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate that. Um, la 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 la. Oh, the endocannabinoid system. So we all have a cardiovascular system. We all have a musculoskeletal system. We all have a neurologic system. And back in the early 1990s, they discovered that mammals all have an endocannabinoid system. And one of the greatest things about the endocannabinoid system is that it's kind of our body's control panel, if you will. It's kind of like, just like cannabis is the umbrella term, your endocannabinoid system is kind of our body's umbrella for everything. Um, the endocannabinoid system is responsible for regulation and balance. And that includes regulation and balance of the cardiovascular system, the neurologic system, the GI system. Um, it's the endocannabinoid system is really coming into light on how much we can find deficits and what molecules can actually fill in the gaps to bring the body and our different systems into balance and help regulate. Yeah, it is amazing, isn't it? It's crazy. This whole thing has lit my remember when you were in high school and you had to take all the different science classes? My biology brain. It has lit my biology brain on fire. I'm a little bit of a science geek anyway, but yeah, the endocannabinoid system and the receptors and how our bodies actually make cannabinoids on our own. That's we actually do that. And cannabinoids made by a plant, phyto, and the cannabis plant, they're almost bioidentical to the cannabinoids that we produce naturally. So that's one reason that cannabis therapy has been such a major player in the game of medicinal therapeutics. I feel like I'm talking a lot. And, I've never done a YouTube live before. So I'm sitting here looking at myself and trying to read some text. And when I did the podcast with Dee Dee the other day, I felt like I was talking and talking and talking. And whew, good thing I'm a talker, right? Oh, let's see. Jamie, so this might help Addison's. It might help Addison's. It might help Cushing's. It might help, uh, you name it. I mean, the adrenals. Absolutely, we have an adrenal system. Yeah, it very well may help. Yeah, Neely, it does feel really weird. Thank you, Keisha. I'm trying. I am. But yeah, Jamie Lee, it very well may help. I mean, the shepherd that I'm working with right now, she's 11. She's got really bad arthritis through her lower spine and her hips. Um, she's got that German shepherd body, and her back, the arthritis is progressing. And she has been on high doses of steroid prednisone for years. And they started to see some belly issues and some liver, um, elevated liver values in the blood work. And they wanted to look at a more natural option. And one of the greatest things about cannabis is it does exactly the opposite. When it comes to the GI, it actually protects the gastrointestinal system. You generally aren't going to see diarrhea in a good quality clean product because it lends to protecting the system, that particular system. Um, some of the molecules actually are just as powerful as ibuprofen or Tylenol. And the difference is you don't get that GI upset. Not that we'd give our dogs, please don't take it that way, not that we'd give our dogs Advil or Tylenol by any means, but NSAIDs, nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, they have their own version, whether it be Rimadyl or meloxicam or carprofen. And some of those are safe-ish, but they do process through the body. They do go through the liver and or kidneys. And you do find with long-term use, there can be damage. Um, Cannabis therapy can be just as effective as NSAID therapy, just a little bit safer because we don't have to tax the kidney and the liver. Um, What are some things that have surprised you with your clients' results? Hmm. Something that's surprised me. Excuse me. I'm trying to think through my caseload. That's a good one. It's probably this shepherd. So we started therapy back in October. And again, with like 8 drops. She was doing really well. The pet parents had gone out of town for a little bit. They had a pet sitter come in. The pet sitter was going through the whole routine. These are not raw feeding people, unfortunately. But they still want to try to do the best they can by their dog. So the pet sitter had given them had been given their product. They got back and they noticed she was just a little more wobbly than normal. She was crossing her back legs quite a bit when she'd walk. And I just saw the dog for massage the week before they went out of town. And pet parent dad, had commented on how the shepherd for the last few years hasn't really been using her back tail. Her back tail hasn't been using her tail, excuse me. Whether it was for excitement, for happiness, and wagging it, or whether it was, like a boat's udder where they use it for stabilization and guidance in their walks. And being on cannabis for about a month and a half, almost 2 months, dad had commented that they had gone to Chatfield that weekend and he noticed that she had her tail up and she was using it like that udder. And he noticed that she was holding a straighter gait for longer periods of time and that they made it further in the park. Um, which that was great, right? Good information. You couldn't feel any better about yourself and what you were doing for this family and this pet. And I check in with my clients about once a week just to see where we're at and how the current dosing is working. And they didn't respond right away. And the following day she responded, "Mom," and she said, "Well, we just had a end of life discussion with her vet." I'm sorry, what? What why was there such a regression? I, it, honestly, I couldn't tell you why there was such a regression, but they were going to take some time and have some hard conversations and get back to me. So it took 4 or 5 days and they finally got back to me and they said, "You know what, Dana? We're going to keep her." The vet bumped her back up to 40 milligrams of prednisone a day. "We're going to keep her there for short term. She seems to be moving around a little bit more. We want to work closer with you on the cannabis and we want to start bumping that up and get back to decreasing the steroid." And it's taken us probably a good 2 months, but I just saw that dog yesterday, Monday, and she's hanging in there. She's a little wobbly, but man, she's got the heart of a warrior, and she goes outside and she lays out in the sun and she goes for walks and she's asking for walks. They're getting ready to drop her next dose down to 10 milligrams. And like I said earlier, we're still under a half of a dropper of the product, but we've taken our time, we've gone slow. We started out nice and low, and we've been able to fill in some of those gaps. And mom had mentioned that they were using kind of one of those not a harness, but like the strap that you put underneath their belly to help them up and help them just be more stable sometimes. That they're not using that almost at all. She's standing. It takes her a second, but she gets herself up. She's walking. She's thriving for who she is. She's not in bad shape for the shape she's in, I guess you could say. I think that's probably been my biggest surprise, is that I had the dedication of some pet parents who saw that she wasn't at death's doorstep. She wasn't suffering. And even though the veterinarian said, anytime you're ready, we can do this, the pet parents took a step back and they regrouped and they said, "All right, we're gonna dig our heels in and we're gonna try one last thing." And it's been amazing. It's been a really great journey and a wonderful experience to be a part of. Oh, let's see. Keisha, so the body can digest and break down the CBD. Well, so the liver still processes the cannabis product for sure. Absolutely. You usually find a cannabis ideal mainly with tinctures. Um, Tinctures being the droppers, the liquid and the oil base. And you usually find the cannabis products in usually one of three. Most commonly is an MCT oil, which is a coconut oil, and we know what great omegas and stuff that has. Um, we also see hemp seed oil, which is fine as a carrier oil as long as it still has cannabis in it and we're getting the molecules that we need. And hemp seed oil actually has a great ratio. I think it's omega 6s and omega 3s, and I think it's a 3-to-1 ratio. Um, Excuse me, with omega 6s being the highest. And then we also see a carrier oil every now and again in as olive oil. And so all of those are very beneficial for our pets to be ingesting. And again, we're going to be giving them in very low quantities, very few drops. So for that stuff to pass through the liver, really no big deal. But cannabis products, specifically CBD, meaning cannabidiol, it's got such great anti-inflammatory properties that even clients that I have that have elevated liver issues, such as this German Shepherd, it can actually take some of that inflammation out of the liver itself and lend to better blood results. Good stuff. Um, Neely, y'all know how I feel about NSAIDs. Let's see. I want to get off the prednisone so bad. Oh gosh, Jamie, we need to talk. We absolutely need to talk because we can start at please, we need to talk. Absolutely. Thank you for doing the reach out on the site. And yeah, we'll absolutely get in touch. Okay. That's good stuff. Um, those are gut grenades. Yeah. Okay, Kyle, I'm gonna steal that. They break down cartilage too. Yeah, they do. Um, I imagine how much better she would be doing if they had the real food too. Oh, I know. And I try, and they're just, I don't know. I mean, they're not like vegan or anything themselves where they're like hesitant to do meat. As a matter of fact, at one point they were giving her some Wagyu beef because they were bumping up her fat as per the vet. I, I was like, well, that probably what lended to the diarrhea and the tummy issues, but you know. One of my biggest obstacles being in the pet industry and not actually having my doctorate for the DVM is been sometimes I run across clients that they really want those that acronym behind your name, and if it's not there, they really have a hard time um, taking you at your word and that you know what you're talking about. When what's really funny is a lot of times, and Neely will agree, DVMs have no idea what the heck they're talking about. I mean, let's look at their nutrition training when they have Hills and or Royal Canin come in and give them all the nutrition change training they need. You know, oh, you have a dog with kidney problems, put them on KD. Okay, well, there's more nutrition in a cardboard box, and they tank the protein, so we're gonna have a ton of muscle wasting. But that's literally has always been one of my biggest uh, obstacles. But people are starting to come around. I think they're starting to realize that just because there's a doctor in there somehow, somewhere, it doesn't always mean that they know everything. Let's see. What a great story and a great to hear how great it works. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, the beef was probably soy fed. You never know because I don't know where they got the product from. You know, sometimes clients only let you in so far, and honestly, they knew me as as a massage practitioner. Um, so when I started talking to them about cannabis and that kind of stuff, they were kind of like, "I'm sorry." And even when I saw them just yesterday and we were talking about what a great difference the product has made in their dog's life, and that I really appreciated them holding in there with her and giving it one last big hurrah. She said, you know, honestly, Dana, she said, you know, we knew you as a massage therapist to begin with. And granted, we know that you were a veterinary technician for many years, but you know, you're not her vet. So we were really hesitant. But over the last couple years, with you working on her and all the great information that you've been able to give, has really gotten us to say, you know what, she knows what she's talking about, and we can trust her. So they were able to say, Georgie's getting to the point that she needs something else that the steroid isn't doing. So I've been really grateful for that. Um, they get like one chapter if that's on nutrition. Yeah, absolutely. Veterinarians get absolutely none. You know, technically a DVM degree is just a bachelor's degree, not really a doctor's degree. Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's so much more risk that comes with it, you know. I actually wanted to be a veterinarian, and I ended up I ended up not being able to to get further than tech school because I got pregnant and couldn't do all of the other classes like pharmacology, anesthesiology, radiology, couldn't do all that kind of stuff. And so it just kind of slowed my roll a little bit, and I couldn't move forward into veterinary medicine like I wanted to. And I mean, in hindsight, it was a blessing in disguise, right? What's supposed to happen will happen when it's supposed to happen. Um, so yeah, I took a little bit of a detour, and here's something that a lot of people don't know. I actually got certified, went back to school and got certified as a interpreter for the hearing impaired. So that's a lot of fun. Does cooking or baking CBD affect it at all? Yes, absolutely. That's why they have to be so careful, excuse me, with the extraction process, because too much heat. For example, um, CBDA is the acid form of cannabidiol. And so when CBDA is heated to a certain temperature, the acid part falls off and you end up with just CBD, cannabidiol. And CBDA has its own round of benefits. Um, yeah, absolutely. A lot of the acid forms, THCA, CBGA, they're all the acid forms. And as soon as they're heated, it changes the molecules. So, absolutely, heating, you end up not knowing exactly what you're going to get. I mean, if you got THC and you're just looking to get high and you want to do it via an edible, so you're baking brownies, you'll still get high. As far as using it medicinally, no guarantees that you're going to end up with the molecules that you're wanting, um, to get the same benefit, the healing benefits that you're looking for. Kyle, thank you. Whew, I like to talk, and like I said, this particular part of the industry coming into this it's been a whirlwind, and it has lit my brain on fire. I know I mentioned that, but gosh, there's so much good stuff. Um, I had learned that we were talking about terpenes a little bit ago, and thanks, Keisha. There's a terpene out there. It's called alpha bizidolo. Alpha bizabolo, bolo, BOLOL, alpha bizabolo. Yes. Um, and when I was learning about that, oh, good question, Neely. We'll talk about that in 1 second. Neely wants to know if it works better given with food or directly into the mouth/membranes. Great question. Alpha bizabolo actually could be, I don't even know where to start. It's got great antiviral and bacterial properties. It's actually been used to combat Campylobacter, and it works in the brain and could actually be a huge asset in Alzheimer's treatments. It helps slow down the brain degeneration. It protects the liver and helps decrease liver mutagens. So as you age, just like us, with all the crud we put in our bodies and all the stuff that we breathe and all that fun stuff, our liver starts to not look so smooth and pliable, but it starts to get a little more rigid and gets little kind of like calcium deposits on it. And this alpha bizabolo actually can help protect from that. So when I have a real big senior pup that is kind of standing in the middle of the room, where you kind of see that she's obviously forgotten while she's where she's supposed to be, or she's getting lost in her yard or something like that, I absolutely want to find a product that it has a fair amount or a higher amount of that alpha bizabolo in it. Absolutely. Same with liver clients. So I don't even know how I got off on that, but let's see. So Neely had asked, so honestly, just like with us, cannabis is best utilized or gets into the system faster if it's given with a high fat meal. So I always recommend that we give it with a meal, whether you squirt it directly in when they eat, or I have one or two clients that will do peanut butter sandwiches. They use the natural peanut butter, and they'll do a little fourth of a slice of um, bread and put the peanut butter on there and put in their drops or whatever, and they take it that way. It helps the body utilize the cannabis and the cannabinoids, gets them quicker into the system. Absolutely, getting them into the membrane, if you're able to rub them right there into that gums, it gets there even faster. And then a lot of our over the counter hemp products does have trace amounts of THC. And that's literally what differentiates if a product has to be classified as a marijuana product or a hemp product. The difference is how much THC. Hemp having less than 0.3%, marijuana having more than 0.3% of the THC molecule itself. Again, in Colorado, the marijuana products only being sold in a dispensary. But when you do have those even the trace amounts of THC, you find that the effects of the product actually stay around a little bit longer. So whenever I'm starting a pet on a full or a broad spectrum product that has the smaller amounts of the THC in it, we always start it once a day. And I like to start at night, maybe with dinner, give the pet parent some time to see how the pet's reacting. Um, Journaling, we always have to journal. The pet parents have to be active participants. I'll send a spreadsheet along. They have to keep track so that we can see patterns that are happening. But absolutely, um, we have the benefit of with THC having the product hang around just a little bit longer. So broad spectrum, full spectrum, those are always more beneficial than an isolate. An isolate being a product that has just one item in it, one molecule. It might be just THC, it might be just cannabidiol, CBD, it might be just one product, no terpenes, nothing else, just that. And we frequently hear things like, well, I tried this isolate and it worked for a couple weeks and then it just didn't really seem to do much. It's because usually, we're all different. We have different aspects of all of us, of each one of us. They're the same way. And so you really want to get a nice broad spectrum or a full spectrum product that can approach the issues from a myriad of different avenues. Let's see. So all the dog cookies and treats you see at the fairs and stuff, is it even worth it? Good question. Again, not knowing exactly what's in them, I, I couldn't tell you. How did they make them in their own home? How'd they make them? I don't know. I will tell you that I don't particularly like to use the treats and the cookies, um, even the ones you can get at the pet store, because it's not the best way to get the dose that you want. Imagine that, who asked me that question? Kyle. Thank you, Kyle. Imagine that you're at home, Kyle, and you're making chocolate chip cookies. You got your batter, you got you throw in your eggs and your whatever, and you throw in your chocolate chips and you mix it all up, and now you're spooning it onto your cookie tray. And you're going to throw that in the oven. You're going to bring those cookies out. Can you guarantee that there are going to be, I don't know, just for a number, 25 chocolate chips in every cookie? No, you can't guarantee that because you threw the cookies right, or the chocolate chips right into the cookie dough. Now, if you took the cookie dough, the base, and put all that on your tray, count it out, 25 chocolate chips, put that in there, 25 chocolate chips, put it on the next ball of dough, 25 chocolate chips, and put that on the next ball of dough. That's a huge manufacturing undertaking, a lot of time used and consumed. And you just cannot guarantee how much of the product is going to be in that base, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot of people out there who would agree with that. So I does that help? Oh, let's see. Also, the creams, lotions, and balms. For our pets, that's a little difficult, just due to the fact that, they're covered in fur. And as much as the fur is definitely kind of like a straw, and those hairs can lend to like essential oils being taken down into that system, um, it's still kind of tricky. For us, balms and creams and all that fun stuff. That's wonderful. I can tell you my daughter, she was a bud tender. I don't remember the name of the dispensary, but she was a bud tender. And they go through quite the background and they get a lot of education. And to this day, she still makes her own cannabis lotion. And I don't think I would have been able to survive being a massage therapist as long as I have without my daughter's cannabis lotion, because it has done wonders for my hands. Wonders. Um, lectins. Yes, absolutely. Keisha, do cats have their own set of CBD guidelines? Not really. I mean, cats being the little aliens that they are, they all kind of have their own little guidelines in everything, whether it's what raw they'll eat, what food they'll eat, what water they'll drink, where they sleep, what bed they'll use, blah blah blah. Um, so it's not like set in stone kind of guidelines, Keisha, but it's definitely, most cats are smaller than most dogs. So again, we come into I had a lady text me this morning, and she sent me bottles. She sent me pictures of the cannabis product that she's using. She sent me pictures, and it she knows the manufacturer personally. So she was like, "Am I giving the right amount?" I was like, "I don't know. I we need to talk." But she was giving it to her senior cat, and thank goodness she was only giving a few drops, but the product was 1,500 milligrams. 1,500. I have 90-pound dogs that are on 1,000 milligrams, and we only give a few drops, 5 drops sometimes. I- So unfortunately, she is in between jobs and couldn't really talk, but um, I gave her a couple pointers and told her I'd be here, when she needed me. Unfortunately, but just told her to be careful. So the biggest thing with cats is making sure that we're diluting the product appropriately. I gotta go. See you guys later. Great session. Thanks, Neely. We'll talk to you soon. Um, so anyway, we are kind of coming up to our hour. Um, we're just 2 minutes away. I'm happy to answer any other questions that we may have. I hope you guys have found this informative. I hope you have found it helpful. Um, what is your website? I will type it in, but it is positive. Oh, let me actually get onto the positive balance dot health. And you can reach me directly at 303-219-0045. Thank you, Keisha. You're such a great cheerleader, Keisha. Thank you so much. So, yeah, please feel free. Check out the website. Reach out, get in touch. You can do it there on the website. You can hit a contact and I'll get an email. Um, Thank you, and hope you become a regular in the raw dog food community. Absolutely. I have been in the community. I just haven't, I've known Dee Dee for many years. I think you listened to the podcast, Kyle. I didn't want to get in on the podcast doing the massage thing, knowing that I really had it in my heart that I wanted to kind of start making a bigger and better difference. without utilizing my hands and getting off these crazy Colorado roads. People are lunatics out there. I kind of take my life in my hands just driving around. So, but my dogs, my 15 and 16-year-old, they'll be 15 and 16 this year. They've been on raw food for 8, 9 years. Yeah, it's we couldn't do any better. Meat, organ, bone, species specific. We're doing the best we can. So anyway, with that being said, guys, thank you so much for being here today. I hope I was helpful. I hope I was informative. You got anything else? Please feel free. Text is always best. It's in case I'm on a conference call or a consult call. Please feel free to text that number again. That's 303-219-0045, or reach out on positivebalance.health. Thank you. Thank you. Wishing y'all the best. Thanks, Keisha. Thank you, Kyle. Bye, guys.